My name is Emma, and today I want to talk about something that many English learners overlook: listening. Many people focus on grammar, reading, and speaking, but listening is just as important, if not more. Why? Because when you listen, you train your brain to understand natural speech, recognize patterns, and pick up new words without even realizing it. Think about how children learn their first language. They don't start by speaking or reading, they listen. For months, they hear words, tones, and rhythms before they even try to say their first words. The same method can work for you when learning English. The more you listen, the more natural the language will become. Listening helps you speak better. One of the biggest benefits of listening is that it improves your speaking skills. When you hear native speakers, you learn the correct pronunciation, sentence structures, and even the rhythm of the language. I remember when my friend Lucas moved to an English-speaking country. At first, he struggled to communicate because he wasn't used to hearing English at a natural speed. But instead of focusing only on grammar, he started listening to podcasts, watching movies, and paying attention to how people spoke. Over time, he began to speak more naturally without even thinking too much about grammar rules. If you want to improve your speaking, don't just study textbooks, listen to real English as much as possible. Listening helps you understand native speakers. Have you ever studied English for a long time but still found it difficult to understand when native speakers talk fast? This happens because real-life English is different from the slow, clear sentences you find in textbooks. Native speakers connect words, use informal expressions, and sometimes speak very quickly. The only way to get used to this is by listening regularly. I once met a student, Anna, who had been studying English for years. She was great at grammar and reading, but when she traveled to London, she couldn't understand what people were saying. She felt frustrated, but then she started listening to English everyday radio, interviews, and conversations. After a few months, she could finally follow conversations without feeling lost. How to practice listening effectively. Many learners think they need to understand every single word, but this is not true. Even native speakers don't catch every word in a conversation. Instead of trying to understand everything, focus on the main idea. Here are some effective ways to improve your listening skills. 1. Start with simple content. If you're a beginner, listen to slow and clear English. Audiobooks, podcasts for learners, and children's shows are great options. 2. Use subtitles wisely. Watching with English subtitles can help you connect spoken words to their written form. But don't depend on them all the time. Try watching without subtitles after a while. 3. Repeat and shadow. Listen to a sentence, pause, and repeat it out loud. This technique, called shadowing, helps with both listening and speaking. 4. Listen actively. Don't just hear the words, try to understand the message. Ask yourself, what is the speaker talking about? What is their opinion? 5. Make listening a habit. You don't need to sit down and study every time. Listen while cooking, driving, or exercising. The more exposure you get, the faster you'll improve. Listening builds confidence. Many learners feel nervous when speaking English because they're afraid of making mistakes. But if you listen regularly, you will start recognizing correct phrases and structures naturally. I used to be shy about speaking in English. I was afraid of saying something wrong. But after spending months listening to interviews, TED Talks, and daily conversations, I noticed that my confidence grew. I didn't need to translate everything in my head, I just knew what sounded right. So if you feel nervous about speaking, start by listening more. Over time, you will feel more comfortable forming sentences and expressing yourself. Real-life listening practice. Here are some practical ways to improve your listening skills and make English a natural part of your life. Listen to short English stories and try to summarize them in 1 or 2 sentences. For example, after finishing this video, take a moment to think, what was the main idea? What did you learn? By doing this regularly, you train your brain to process and retain information in English. And remember, just by listening to this story, you are already improving your English. Every time you engage with real spoken English, you take another step toward fluency. Find a conversation partner and practice listening carefully before responding. When talking to someone in English, don't just focus on what you want to say next. Instead, really pay attention to what they are saying. Try to pick out keywords, understand their emotions, and respond naturally. If you don't have an English-speaking partner, don't worry. Listening to this video and repeating phrases out loud is also a great way to practice. Use podcasts or audiobooks and write down new phrases you hear. Choose topics that interest you, whether it's history, travel, or everyday conversations. Keep a small notebook or use a phone app to write down useful expressions. Then, try using them in your own sentences. The more you listen and repeat, the more these phrases will become part of your natural speech. Watch English movies or series and notice how characters talk in different situations. Pay attention to how they greet each other, express emotions, or ask questions. Try pausing the video and repeating a line exactly as they say it. This will help you develop a more natural accent and rhythm in your speech. You can even turn this into a fun habit. Watch your favorite scenes and act them out as if you were in the movie. Listening isn't just about understanding words, it's about training your brain to think in English. The more you expose yourself to real conversations, the faster your progress will be. And by watching this video, you are already on your way to mastering English. Keep listening, keep practicing, and soon you'll see real results. Final thoughts. Listening is one of the most powerful tools for learning English. It helps you understand real conversations, improves your pronunciation, and boosts your confidence. The more you listen, the easier English will become. So start today. Choose something you enjoy: music, podcasts, or movies, and listen as much as you can. You'll be surprised at how much you improve.
Thank you for listening. If you found this helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more English learning tips. See you in the next story.